so good. I mean, just such a beautiful atmosphere tonight. I want to introduce you to a couple of our ministry partners, and I'm going to start with Andrew Sevigny. Andrew serves as Executive Director of Dauphin Bible Camp. Andrew, oh, there he is. While Andrew comes up, how about the people that are from Dauphin or from Dauphin Bible Camp? If you want to stand just so we can kind of recognize board members and missionaries often. Yeah, excellent. Good show. All right. Great. Thank you, Andrew, for coming and joining us on the big stage here tonight. I know we've been here before probably, but let's go back in time to before you were the Executive Director at Dauphin Bible Camp. Take us back to when you were a little kid. Maybe, like the whole thing of a testimony, like what was like before you met Jesus, how you met Jesus, and what's it been like since. So let's talk about how life was before you met Jesus. Like what kind of...
Yeah, I actually went to Carberry Bible Camp when I was a kid.
Has anybody heard of Carberry Bible Camp? Which is now Valley View Bible Camp.
Yeah, and I grew up going there, and I grew up in Carberry, and I actually started working at Valley View Bible Camp first year that Valley View opened. And I served there, and I guess going back a little bit further though, is Carberry Bible Camp is where I heard about Jesus. And my cabin leader shared more about who is Jesus and what did he do for me. And it was there that I said, yeah, I think I believe in this guy. And but later on in life, I served at Valley View, and it became a family. And that was so important to me as I walked through life. I came to a point in time where my parents separated, but Valley View was family. And I went back there, and I felt this love that only God can give. When I grew up, got into a maybe not so good scene, and I remember going back to camp because I got my application for camp in the mail, and God really spoke to me through that, and said, "Are you going to choose me, or are you going to choose this other life?" And I chose camp, but I was sitting there in the pew, 18 years old, and we were singing this song, "I Surrender," and there I was, 18 years old, bawling my eyes out because God just spoke to me and said, "Do you surrender everything? Because I am worth everything." And I found Jesus, and I gave him everything, and I said, "This life's yours." That's all it is.
And so God led you from serving at Valley View off to Bible school. Is that where you met your missus?
Yeah, that's another fun story because I went to Bible school and I said, "I hate this. This is too much reading, so I want to go into business school and make money because money is everything." And then God just said, "I want to use you. I want to use you in ministry." And so I had to make that phone call to my dad one day and say, "Hey Dad, you remember that money we sent to this other school for me to go make money? That's garbage now because God wants to use me here." But that's okay because God has done so much more through that. And I went to school and met my wife and began serving right after school in 2012, which is a cool story because me and my wife we're trying to figure out where's God leading us, and we actually started applying to Valley View Bible Camp to work full-time there, and met with Bill McCaskill, who was in the video, and I prayed one night and I said, "God, show me where you want me. Where do you want us? Where are you calling us to?" And the next morning at 9 a.m, I got a phone call from the director of Dauphin, and he said, "Hey, I got a job for you." Okay, God, show me where you want me. Yeah.
And that was which year?
Pardon?
Which year was that?
That was in 2012. We began in May 2012.
Okay, and you were site manager for 3 years, is that?
Yeah, site manager for 3 years, and then another fun story of God calling us further into ministry when some of the board members said, "Hey Andrew, you should become the next director." And I said, "Nobody in this world is going to make me become the director." And then I went to a youth conference, and the song Oceans was playing, and he said, calling you out of the water, keep your eyes focused on me. And I said, nobody of this world. God is not of this. He's bigger than that, right? Yeah. And so I began the director role for 2 years, and then I ended up at Rosa River Bible Camp for a couple of years, and by the grace of God, he called me back to Dauphin in 2019. So.
What a journey. What a journey. Wow. So reflecting on last summer, let's just, more recent history, maybe a highlight Dauphin Bible Camp in the summer of 2023.
Yeah. Highlight. Probably our horse program, actually.
Talk about your horse program.
Yeah, so my wife runs our horse program. She wasn't able to be here today because we're running horse lessons. But last spring we had 100 kids go through our horse program, our horse lessons in the spring. Our camps were full, and then we ran 80 more kids in the fall. And this year we actually were able to rent an indoor arena to run winter lessons as well. But the cool thing about that is we talk about ministering to kids through camp, and through that, parents are being reached, and the gospel is getting into households. I know this one lady that became best friends with my wife through riding lessons last fall, and she gave her life to Christ. And this other lady that said, hey, what book is that you're teaching the kids from? Because I want to buy it, and I want to teach my kids at home. So we did this so that these kids would come hear the gospel during our riding lessons, but also come back to camp and be like saturated with the gospel, like for 3 hours, 4 hours a day for 5 days. But we're reaching parents, a blessing that we never even thought we'd have. But God's using that to change moms and dads' lives.
Now those riding lessons, it's not just riding, but as you kind of alluded to, Tasha also gives kind of a Bible lesson at the end, is that correct?
Yeah, there's a Bible lesson in every riding lesson, and what she does is she purposely brings the kids closer to the parents that are watching and shares the Bible lesson in front of the parents too. So not only do the kids hear the Bible lesson, but the parents hear it as well.
Wow, well that's so encouraging. What a creative way to connect them through the horse program, and kids so they learn about the camp. Aside from the Bible lesson during the riding lesson, but they also come to camp, and that's where, like I say, they hear about Jesus 5 hours, all day.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah.
Good. Looking at the summer of 2024, what are some needs that our friends here could be praying for, or maybe even coming and joining you on the front lines of ministry?
Yeah, I know that we're still looking for some people to help in the kitchen. And some cabin leaders and some health officers.
We had some incredible supper here tonight. If we could convince those people to come to Dauphin Bible Camp, that was amazing. But okay, so kitchen, what else?
What are their names? So that we can make sure.
That's good.
Yeah, kitchen, health officers.
What do they need to have, by the way?
Standard first aid and CPR.
So they don't need to be RNs?
No, not at our camp, because we're close enough to Dauphin that you don't have to be an RN.
So just standard first aid, okay.
If they need it, we're offering a course this weekend at our camps. So
Really?
there we go.
Wow.
There's a plug.
Yeah.
And cabin leaders to share the gospel with the kids in the cabins.
Okay, good. Any final thoughts before we let you go off the hot seat here?
Yeah, you can, I guess, just pray that we just have many more opportunities. We're focused on quality of camp. The quantity is going to go up when the quality goes up. And so as we get quality cabin leaders, as we do quality programming, we get to share the gospel in a better way, in a safer way, and the kids are going to hear it better and want to return. So our goal is quality. So pray for quality camp, because that's going to bring the amount of campers to our campus.
Mm-hmm. That's great. What a story, coming to Jesus way back when. What year was that, 1999?
I don't know.
Okay, wait. At Carberry Bible Camp, and now directing Dauphin Bible. What a neat story. Thanks, Andrew, for being willing to share that. I'm sure that's really encouraging for the folks that are even on the board at Valley View nowadays, and just that, the fruit that continues to grow from those seeds planted back in those years.
Yeah, back then.
Yeah. Great.
Awesome.
Thanks, Andrew, and we'll invite Michael Bergen to come up next. And Andrew Sevenye. So Michael Bergen serves as program director at Valley View Bible Camp. So was that an encouraging story for you?
It certainly was. I guess Andrew and I have been around the block a few times, and it's important to remember what the Lord has done, what He's doing, and what He will do. And so, for myself personally, those certainly motivate and remind me in those hard times why we do what we do. And just imagine everyone looking like a little Andrew out there in summer camp, and the opportunity that presents.
Yeah. Now, do we have any Valley View board members or Valley View people here today? All right, see a hand in the back there. Okay.
There's our youngest board member, my son Kanan.
Excellent. And our prayer warrior, Tina Tapes. Excellent. Good, good. A highlight from 2023 from you, Rick, from Valley View.
Yeah, Andrew mentioned quality of team or quality of camp program. Sorry, I don't want to misquote you, Andrew, and I don't want to steal that, but I resonate with that. I think anything we do in our Christian life, that sanctifying process, once we come to know Christ, and then we desire naturally through the Holy Spirit to glorify Him more and more, and to kind of focus in on those details. And I'm not saying we have it all figured out, but last year was an encouragement in that way. There was every year there's different needs and different situations that need our attention, but over the 10 years now that I've been there, it's being able to see a team that changes and with the times, and people grow up and move on to other things, but to see a quality of team that are focused on the main thing, which is the gospel in general, and to be presenting that to the children. And it's been an encouragement to me, especially in these more recent years, just to identify what we are all there for, to remind us of that on a Sunday, and say, here's our line in the sand. And last year that was a real encouragement, because I saw that take root in the campers. We have stories, and the cabin leaders do a great job of reiterating those as well, but we see and hear of things going on, and then we also know that beyond some things we don't see, we know that kids and teens are hearing the gospel, and things are taking root there too. So that's a bit of my story too. I came to camp as a young believer, and only went to camp once as a camper. My parents sent me 1 year when I was in grade 4. I don't know why they never sent me back, but I was stuck in that loop, thinking that I constantly had to repent, constantly had to come back to know Jesus and question my salvation. And it was at camp, I don't even remember the speaker, but it was at Valley View too, one summer, where I realized, wait a second, this is something that is supposed to change me. This one is from the inside out. And since then, it ebbs and flows, but you desire to see that in other campers as well. So.
I just love how at Valley View there's just such intentionality from, especially through your music program. You got this crazy guy from Portage that does your music, and I mean, this guy's up there singing, leading these kids in Power of the Blood. What are some of the other songs? I mean, it's just amazing. The old classics, but he just puts a beat to it, and those kids are singing at the top of their lungs. Yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah, I'm the program coordinator, but he's the action behind it all, and we're thankful for him and his ministry. We do a lot of DVBS-based songs. There's lots of great curriculum out there, isn't there, that we've seen in our churches and our communities, and we just kind of pump up the tempo or throw a beatbox to it, and the kids love it. And the beautiful thing, similar to what the Heath Brothers have mentioned tonight, is that we can say so much through the music ministry as well. And so we just try and keep that perspective, because if we're coming into chapel, it's not just the speaker that delivers the gospel, it's the songs as well. And so we sing, Our God is a Great Big God, or Made for This. There's a few other DVBS songs that are really popular. Thankful is another hit. You can look these up on Spotify. We can share our playlist with you, but they're just canned songs from a track for the most part, with a little bit of Brian Flair. But you know what? Just to see the kids latch onto those, and as been said here in different ways, they bring that back home with them. And some of the parents have called me afterwards. I just got a phone call the other day, and Mom was like, "These kids don't stop singing those songs." And you just rejoice, right? Because you know that gospel then is continuing to be spoken in the homes, and we're thankful for that.
Another song that comes to mind is I Have Decided to Follow Jesus.
Sure.
That's another one that just, and maybe share a story of these campers where they were actually frustrated. They're at skills, and these songs are playing through that.
Yeah, we've had that before too. And it's not necessarily like a genuine, deep-rooted like frustration, but they're like, I just can't do anything else but like hum these songs, and they come home with my kids too, and my wife is still humming them at the sink, and so it kind of just gets worked into you, right? You get a favorite song and just kind of gets stuck there for 3 or 4 months, and it drives you nuts, and then you move on. And the kids will often say that they'll be running around, or the kids are in the cabin, like just be quiet for a bit, like focus on something else or go to bed. But yeah, the songs stick with you, right? It's music is an amazing thing that way, and how the Lord uses it.
So, what are some of your needs going into the summer?
Consistent to Dolphins, some of you have seen on social media that we've already started to just kind of present the need of male cabin leaders. And it's no surprise to many of you here. It's almost like, oh, come on, guys, like, let's get with the program here and find some guys. But we have been overwhelmed by the parents are responding and saying, hey, we want to send our kids to camp. And we're seeing a strong response from boys coming. And it is still our weak area of these last few years is getting the male leaders in. And last year, every year the Lord provides. We're confident in that. And we've had a lot of 1 and 2 week commitments from men in the community that can sacrifice some holidays or can earmark some time. But you still need some of those core leaders to kind of carry through the whole summer. And we just seem to be in a bit of a transition period with that. And we certainly are praying and trusting that the Lord will provide us with some solid men, young men or older men, to help kind of bring that stability. Because we have boys that are there that are ready to go, and we're hopeful that we have the camp leaders. But in addition to that, camp parents, which is an amazing role that we've just kind of said is necessary. We're just not going to compromise. We need a camp parent couple or a male and a female that are willing to serve in that capacity every week. We just don't compromise on that.
What do they do?
Sorry?
What do they do?
Everything that we don't want to do. Camp parents are there. I could probably go on for a while, but it starts with doing laundry, helping with lice check even, and very much looking out for the needs of the camper. And so you're looking for those ones that maybe they fall through the cracks, or that might need that extra attention. You're providing assistance to the cabin leaders by supporting the kids. And so those camp parents just take out those mothering or fathering instincts or just that maturity in Christ, and they bring that and they live that out on the camp property. And it's hard to kind of put that into words, but it's just proven to be an essential role at camp. And we didn't come up with that. There's plenty of camps that have been doing a grandparent or parent role, but we just resonate with that, and it's just become so vital throughout the week. They supervise while the cabin leaders are finishing washing up the dishes, those sorts of things. They're just there and present and stable, and we can trust them, and we can cry on their shoulders if we need to, the whole bit.
Mm-hmm. Now, one misunderstanding perhaps is that camp, the leaders need to be young people. I mean, usually they are, but then we got guys like Papa Larry over there,
Sure.
that I've known for years. I mean, he's a little older than I am, so he's getting up there. But
He acts younger than I am. But in a mature way.
But you don't have, yeah, that's true. But you don't have to be young in age to come serve.
No, we're a little stubborn that way, just because we've seen, again, the benefit of that natural discipleship that takes place when intergenerational ministry happens. And so, again, not a new idea by any stretch of the imagination. And it's not to say that we don't want the young people. We really do, and we need to make sure that we're continuing to disciple those young boys and young girls to come up and to serve themselves, to serve Christ themselves. But we need those 30, 40, 50, 60, 70-year-olds to come and to serve. And we just have testimonies of, we have had some 7-year-old couple that came and spoke and camp parented a few years back. We have lots of middle-aged couples that are coming in different capacities, and we're just so thankful for that, because the kids resonate with that parental figure or that older person on the property. And I think our younger mission team, really, there's natural discipleship that happens in the cabins, and so where they lack maybe in the energy or the on the ground running and chasing, the younger guys and gals make up for that, and they each have something to offer. And I just think it's cool. I love to see it happen at camp. So.
Good. Any final thoughts?
Just thankful for the support of One Hope Canada. We are. It's hard to kind of always perfectly articulate what One Hope Canada does to the ministry points. And the ministry points operate very independently of themselves, and we're thankful that we can serve our local contexts. But Harold and the MRC, the Ministry Resource Center, there's a reason we can focus the majority of our efforts, Andrew and his team and us, on the frontline ministry is because we have very godly and strong administrative support from the Ministry Resource Center. And so obviously that's a bit of a plug here because of what the night is about, but it's genuine. There is really, really solid personal and appropriate support from the Ministry Resource Center so that we can do what we do. And we have to learn to work together at times, but it's very much core to how we serve nationally, and it still feels like home in our different ministry points. And so thankful for that partnership, and thankful to be able to be a part of something bigger than just McGregor. So thanks.
Thank you so much. Michael Bergen, Program Manager.
I trust you are enjoying a great evening of music. Thank you so much for coming. My prayer is that you will leave this evening strengthened and encouraged once again by the steadfast hope we have in Jesus. Songs centered around the amazingness of Jesus, don't they just stir our hearts like they reach our souls, the very depths of them? Every year we see 30,000 children and youth come through our ministries, 3,700 here in Manitoba through our 5 camp ministries. But did you know that less than 50% of them don't know this hope in Jesus? It's hard to imagine, isn't it? Growing up in a country like Canada, having no idea of the true meaning of Christmas, or have never even seen or held, never mind read a Bible. Yet this is Canada in 2024. When the mission started in 1927 as a Canadian Sunday school mission, over 70% of Canadians went to church every week. Today, that number is 5%. So should we really be surprised then when we hear stories of campers, when they see a picture of Jesus on the cross, ask their cabin leader, hey, what'd that guy do to get nailed to that cross? I believe camp ministry is the most effective way we have in Canada to nurture the faith of those young people who already know Jesus and to introduce Jesus to those who have never heard of him before. And camp also provides a great place for Christian young leaders to deepen their own faith in Jesus and make that faith their own. And how do they do that? They do that by loving on kids and sharing the amazing good news of who Jesus is and what he has done for them. And you have an incredible part to play in this life-transforming work. We know that families today, they're struggling financially. And the last thing we want to do is make the cost for a week at camp be a barrier for them to hear about Jesus. And that's why One Hope Canada camps are intentionally some of the most affordable in the country. Yet it's only because of folks like you that that's possible. The true cost for a week at camp is just over $800. And yet most of our camps only pass on about 40% of that to families. And for those families who can't afford the 40%, we'll subsidize even that. The other 60+% of the cost for a week at camp is covered by the generous partnership of God's people. And it's only possible because you know yourself from your own experience the difference knowing Jesus makes, the difference in living in his hope. And you want this next generation to grow up knowing this hope, to grow up knowing Jesus. For it is only in knowing him that this next generation is going to be able to navigate the challenges and confusion of this world. So thank you in advance for the role you are playing. And thank you for your generous partnership in telling boys and girls in your community about Jesus.